Brevard City Council held its regular meeting on August 21st, 2023. During the public hearing period, Assistant Planning Director Aaron Bland reviewed the voluntary contiguous annexation request for 31 York Circle. Mr. Bland also presented proposed amendments concerning staff determinations in the Brevard Unified Development Ordinance regarding the classification of streets for zoning code enforcement and what qualifies as a stream or creek for the purposes of the surface water protection area required by Section 6.7 of the UDO. Staff have proposed using the North Carolina Surface Water Classification Schedule maintained by the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality's Water Resources Division as the reference point for developers and administrators when determining whether a waterway is a stream that requires the 30-foot buffer. Senior Planner Emily Brewer also introduced proposed amendments to the city's Code of Ordinances that would consolidate all of the city's code definitions into a single section. This change was prompted by the launch of Encode Plus, a content management platform that hosts city codes, ordinances, and other planning documents. Encode Plus includes features like pop-up definitions for key terms. For those and other features to function properly, the definitions should be consolidated into a single location rather than spread out throughout the document. Council then took up the social district proposal. In response to questions and feedback from council members, members of the public, and interested stakeholders, City Manager Wilson Hooper provided additional information on the data used by staff in creating the proposal. He noted Brevard Police Chief Tom Jordan's survey of North Carolina police chiefs in areas that have implemented social districts, which have noted no significant impact to law and order or public safety in those areas, as well as a representative survey from the City of Raleigh, which first implemented a social district 2 years ago. The Raleigh survey found strong overall support for the district. Notably, the majority of respondents, 78%, disagreed or strongly disagreed with the claim that social districts encourage bad behavior. Only 7% of respondents agreed with that claim. Of the 921 respondents in that survey, 48% disagreed with the claim that social districts increase litter, with 22% taking a neutral stance on the issue. Mr. Hooper also explained that while the city would underwrite some of the nominal startup costs associated with the district, the fee charged to businesses wishing to serve alcohol in the district would offset additional costs that the city might incur for additional public services. Chief Jordan has recommended having a dedicated officer walking the district during the early stages of the district's operation, and Mr. Hooper said the cost of an overtime officer can be absorbed into the budgeted overtime funds and covered by some of the funds paid to the city by the ABC Board. If, Mr. Hooper explained, the district requires the continued presence of a dedicated officer beyond its initial opening, that cost would need to be considered in future budgets. With respect to the issue of single-use cups, the city currently has a mix of plastic and corn-based cups. When vendors begin buying their own cups, the city's management plan can require recyclable, biodegradable, or reusable cups. The motion to adopt the social district passed by a 3-2 vote. Council also approved a one-time $200 permit fee for businesses selling alcohol in the social district to defray the cost of services. Council also reviewed the proposed amendment to the city's UDO regarding short-term rentals. Councilwoman Geraldine Dinkins reminded everyone that short-term rentals that are currently in operation will be grandfathered in, and that short-term rentals on a property where the primary resident lives are exempt from the new short-term rental restrictions. The short-term rental amendment passed unanimously. Council also adopted an amendment to the city's traffic schedule to make the stretch of road along the unlandscaped hill on Mills Avenue across from the Mary C. Jenkins Center a no parking area, and the amendment to the UDO prohibiting the use of unmuffled compression engine brakes, also known as Jake brakes, in city limits. Mr. Hooper then received council authorization to sign a memorandum of understanding with Transylvania County to contract with Pardee for the Employee Wellness Center. After a presentation from Transylvania Economic Alliance Director Burton Hodges, Council authorized the city to apply for an Economic Development Administration grant intended for communities that were significantly impacted by Tropical Storm Fred. Emphasizing job creation and retention as well as the extension of public utilities, TEA hopes to present the grant to Pisgah Labs Utility Extension Project. Council also approved a funding request for an additional $57,000 needed to complete the Burrell Mountain Water Tank Replacement Project that began in April 2023. Finally, at the request of Councilman Gary Daniel, Council tabled the closeout of the Mary C. Jenkins Community Center and Parking Lot project until the first meeting in October pending a final review of the facility. During closing remarks, Councilman Maurice Jones and Councilman Mac Morrow expressed excitement about the North Carolina Historical Markers Program's upcoming dedication of a Mom's Mabley sign on Main Street. Councilwoman Dinkins, Councilman Daniel, and City Attorney Mac McKellar thanked members of the Short-Term Rental Task Force for their dedication and hard work. Councilman Aaron Baker emphasized the importance of civic engagement and thanked the 6 candidates running for City Council this fall for their involvement. In accordance with his practice of asking Council for authorization to dedicate staff time to non-standard tasks exceeding 4 hours of work, Mr. Hooper asked the Council members whether staff could be assigned to work on a holiday event in December. Council tabled further discussion to its next meeting. He also announced that City Clerk Denise Hodgson has been accepted to the UNC School of Government's Municipal and County Administration program. Finally, Mayor Maureen Koploff thanked members of the public for their input on a range of policy issues, from unmuffled compression engine brakes to the newly adopted short-term rental ordinance. City Council's next meeting will be held on September 5th, 2023.